One of the most popular questions that I get when folks are asking me about how to install an underground dog fence
is how on earth do you cross the driveway?
Let me show you.
There are several different types of concrete material that you could potentially cross when installing your underground dog fence. In this video, we're crossing a red aggregate driveway or brown aggregate. There is gray aggregate and then there's regular concrete. So the red and gray aggregate, that's basically a concrete driveway where the rocks that are in the concrete are exposed on the surface. Just gives it a different look, but that's the type of driveway we'll be crossing today. Now this method can be used to cross gray aggregate, regular just finished flat concrete, but any type of concrete that has an available expansion joint to cross, that's what you're going to want to take advantage of for many different reasons. One, there's already a joint there, so cutting a new joint across the driveway isn't going to look as great as just going through an existing joint. But if you have an asphalt driveway, that smooth black top, there are not going to be any expansion joints. So you'll just want to pop you a chalk line or some other method to keep your cut straight, and then you'll be able to cut through that. But in this video, I'm going to show you the most common method on how to cross concrete by taking advantage of an expansion joint. This is the red aggregate drive that I mentioned earlier that we'll be crossing. These joints that are running across the drive are the expansion joints that are intentionally installed when the driveway is put in to allow the concrete to crack evenly down those joints as it starts to settle. All concrete settles over time and it will eventually crack, and so these are intentionally put in. What you'll do by crossing the driveways, the first step is to dig next to the edge of the driveway at the joint where you'll be crossing. You'll want to dig down deep enough where you're 3, 4, 5 inches beneath the surface of the ground. That way you can allow that wire to go deep next to the driveway, and then it will come up and across that joint. And by going down deep next to the edge of the drive will help prevent you from damaging the cable as you're weed eating and edging along the drive. So now we're on the other side of the drive, repeating that same process. I like to take a flat shovel and dig in and then work it back and forth, opening up that slot. So you'll see here we are dug down several inches next to the edge of the drive, and our next step is to cut into it. We'll be using a industrial concrete saw, but you can use any skill saw. As long as you're using a concrete diamond blade, you'll be able to accomplish this. The first thing you want to do is cut into the edge of the drive about an inch or two, and then you're going to score across the top. I cut in about a ½ inch deep, and I also like to hold the blade off at an angle so that you're cutting down one side of it, and then you'll come back the other direction and cut down the other side, holding that blade again at an angle, creating a V type slot is what you'll end up with. This just helps open up the concrete a little bit more to allow you to get that cable down into the slot. Once you get that cut, you're going to want to take a leaf blower or a broom and get all this debris out of the joint that you just cut into. If you have a lot of dust and debris in there, it's going to be hard for the adhesive or sealant that you're going to be filling in there on top of the cable to adhere to the concrete. So make sure you get this good and clean and get all of that debris out the best you can. This here shows you how we cut into the side of the concrete and then scoring it across the top. We've got all the debris blown out, so we have a nice clean joint to work with to lay the cable in. This is an actual install that I was out on, and so I'm running the trencher up to this point, burying the cable in the yard, And now I'm going to cross the drive. I will be walking on top of the cable as it's coming off the spool, and it's laying there right next to the joint. Now I'm ready to go ahead and start installing the cable. I'm using my weeding tool to help poke and tuck that cable down beneath the ground surface and then into the side of the concrete and across the top. Now you'll cover your cable up that's out in the grass and get that tucked down in there. And once you get it covered up, you shouldn't see the cable at all until it comes up on top of the surface of the joint that you cut there. And then go ahead and kick the trench back in, getting that cable down in the ground nice and tight. And now you're ready to tuck the rest of the cable across the top of the drive into the slot that you cut. I like to take the edge of the weeding tool and just rake it across the top of the cable. It'll fall down into the joint that you cut. Real quick and easy. And as you can see, the cable is now well beneath the surface of the concrete, across the top and down. Now you're going to tuck it in on the other side, well beneath the surface of the edge there, preventing any type of weed eating or edging damage to the cable. Now you can edge across that and not harm it at all. Go ahead and kick in the trench, covering up the cable. And the only thing left to do now is seal it up. Here's another shot of the cable well out of the way for future mowing, edging, and down beneath the surface so you can easily drive over it. Now we're going to seal it up. This is a brown colored caulking exterior sealant. I think it blends really well with red or brown aggregate drives. And you want to go ahead and caulk into the side edge and fill that all the way up until it reaches the surface of your cut, and then continue across the top, completely covering the cable that's down in the joint. This not only helps hold the cable in place, it adds an extra layer of protection as well. And here is a close-up shot of the finished product. I hope that video was helpful in helping you install your underground dog fence across concrete. If you have any questions, feel free to drop that down in the comments and I'll be happy to answer it. And as always, thanks for watching. Goodbye.